means necessary. You have an idea. Stay out of my way. Of course. Stay out of my way. Right. By any means necessary. Of course. Stay out of my way. Right. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Of course. Stay out of my way. Wake up, time to die. Of course. Vanquish the weak. None can oppose me. Vanquish the weak. I await your counsel. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. Right. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. Of course. I do what I must. Stay out of my way. You have an idea. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. Of course. Right. I do what I must. By any means necessary. Of course. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. Of course. Right. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. Of course. Right. Of course. I do what I must. Right. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Right. Stay out of my way. Right. Of course. Stay out of my way. I'll do what I must. Right. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. Of course. Right. I'll do what I must. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. Right. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Right. Stay out of my way.
First blood.
Stay out of my way. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. Right. Of course. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. Right. Of course. By any means necessary. Of course. By any means necessary. Right. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Vanquish the weak. I do what I must. Stay out of my... You call on me? Of course. Right. Of course. Right. Of course. Right. I'll do what I must. Of course. I'll do what I must. Right. By any means necessary. Right. Stay out of my way. I'll do what I must. Nobody can oppose me. Right. Of course. Stay out of my way. Of course. I await your counsel. Right. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. By any means necessary. You call on me. Don't waste my time. Right. Necessary. Of course. Right. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. Of course. Right. Stay out of my way. Right. Do what I must. Right. By any means necessary. This one is mine. Of course. I'll do what I must. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Right. Vanquish the weak. Stay out of my way. Wake up from time to time. Of course. Right. Of course. Stay out of my way. I'll do what I must. You have an idea? Necessary. I await your counsel. Of course. How will this benefit me? Counsel. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. Of course. You call on me. Stay out of my way. Of course. Right. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. Of course. Do what I must. Stay out of my way. Of course. Don't waste my time. You call on me. Stay out of my way. No one can oppose me. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. Of course. Stay out of my way. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Right. This way. Of course. Right. I'll do what I must. Of course. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. waste my time. Stay out of my way. How will Don't waste my time. Right. You have an idea? I await your counsel. Stay out of my way. Don't waste my time. Of course. By any means necessary. How will this benefit me? Do what I must. Stay out of my way. Right. I'll do what I must. Of course. You have an idea? Right. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. Right. Of course. Stay out of my way. Of course. Stay out of my way. I'll do what I must. By any means necessary. I'll do what I must. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Don't waste my time. Stay out of my way. Of course. By any means necessary. Right. By any means necessary. Of course. Stay out of my way. Of course. By any means necessary. Of course. By any means necessary. How will this benefit me? Right. I'll do what I must. Of course. Right. None can oppose me. This one is mine. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Do what I must. By any means necessary. You have an idea? waste my time. Necessary. You call on me? Stay out of my way. Of course. I do what I must. Right. Of course. I do what I must. Of course. We have time to die. Stay out of my way. Right. I do what I must. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. You have an idea. I do what I must. By any means necessary. Of course. Right. I do what I must. Stay out of my way. Of course. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. Right. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Right. Of course. I do what I must. Right. I do what I must. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Of course. I do what I must. Right. I do what I must. Stay out of my way. Right. Of course. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. I have returned. I await your counsel. It's necessary. I do what I must. By any means necessary. Of course. By any means necessary. I do what I must. Right. I do what I must. Right. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. You have an idea. I await your counsel. Stay out of my way. By any means necessary. Right. Of course. By any means necessary. Of course. By any means necessary. How will this benefit me? Stay out of my way. Right. By any means necessary. By any means necessary. Of course. By any means necessary. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. Stay out of my way. I do what I must. By any means necessary. Necessary, of course. Stay out of my way. Right. Of course. By any means necessary. Right. Of course. Right. By any means necessary. Do what I must. Stay out of my way. Right. Stay out of my way. Ashtherodanador. What threatens these lands? Something is amiss. It shall be done. Threatens these lands. Anudora. The column. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For column. Anudora. Better wretches. For column. Has sleep dulled my senses? Ashtherodanador.
Press the attack.
For Palamdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor, it shall be done. Anudora, it shall be done. For Kalimdor, how dare you! Anudora, it shall be done. Ashtherodanador. For Fala Nordora, it shall be done. Anudora, for Kalimdor, Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor, it shall be done. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. For Kalimdor, Anudora. For Kalimdor, Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anodorini Tala. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. How dare you! For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Pathetic wretches. How dare you! For Kalimdor. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done.
Press the attack.
For Kalimdor. The land and time one. Something is amiss. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. How dare you! For Kalimdor. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodanador. Has sleep dulled my senses? Anudora. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador.
Press the attack.
For Falanodora. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora.
Falanodorini Tala.
Ashtarodano. Anudora.
Press the attack.
For Kalamdor. Anudora. Ashtarodano. For Kalamdor.
How dare you!
It shall be done.
Pathetic wretches.
Ashtarodano. Anudora. Ashtarodano.
For Falanodora.
It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Anudora.
Pathetic wretches.
It shall be done.
How dare you!
Ashtarodano. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor.
Pathetic wretches.
It shall be done.
How dare you! For Falanodora.
Ashtarodano.
Pathetic wretches. Press the attack.
For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodano.
How dare you! Pathetic wretches.
It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodano. It shall be done. The land and I are one. Something is amiss. Threatens these lands. Anudora. The land and I are one. Something is amiss. Ashtarodano. Anudora. Threatens these lands. Ashtarodano. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodano. For Kalamdor. Anudora. Ashtarodano. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. Ashtarodano. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodano. Something is amiss. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodano. The land and Anudora. Ashtarodano. It shall be done. Ashtarodano. For Kalamdor.
Press the attack.
Ashtarodano. Anudora. Ashtarodano. Anudora. Ashtarodano. It shall be done. Ashtarodano. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodano. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodano. Anudora. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Falanodora. Anudora. Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. Anudora. For Kalamdor.
Pathetic wretches.
It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done.
How dare you!
For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodonado. Anudora. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Anudora. Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor.
Press the attack!
Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. Torfala Nordora.
Press the attack! Pathetic wretches. Press the attack!
For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodonado. The land and I are one. Threatens these lands. Anudora. The land and I are one. Such a freezing loss. It shall be. Land and I are one. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. Ashtarodonado. For Kalamdor. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalamdor. Anudora. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done.
Pathetic wretches.
Anudora. Ashtarodonado. It shall be done. Ashtarodonado. Threatens these lands. As in this. For Kalimdor, Ashtherodanador, the land and I are one. Something. The land and I are one. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. It shall be done.
How dare you!
For Kalimdor. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done.
Amaldurini Tala. For Falamodora.
Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodan. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodan. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done.
Pathetic wretches. Press the attack. For Falamodora.
Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodanador.
Press the attack.
It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. Anudora. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done.
Falamodora.
For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done.
How dare you! Press the attack.
Anudora. Ashtherodanador. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodanador. It shall be done.
Pathetic wretches. For Falamodora.
For Kalimdor. shall be done. As sleep dulled my senses, I knew Dora. It shall be done. For Calamity, it shall be done. Ashterudana. I knew Dora. Pathetic wretches. It shall be done. Ashterudana. For Calamity, it shall be done. Ashterudana. For Calamity. It shall be done. I knew Dora. Ashterudana. It shall be done. Ashterudana. I knew Dora. Something is amiss. For Kalimdor. What threatens these lands? I know Dora. The land is ours. It shall be done. Ashterudana. For Kalimdor. Ashterudana. For Kalimdor. Threatens these lands. Analdorini Talar. It shall be done. Ashterudana. Something is amiss. Has sleep dulled my senses? For Kalimdor, Anudora. Ashterudana. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashterudana. For Kalimdor. Ashterudana. For Kalimdor. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashterudana. It shall be done. Ashterudana. It shall be done. Ashterudana. For Kalimdor. Ashterudana. It shall be done. Ashterudana. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. It shall be done. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. It shall be done.
How dare you!
For Kalimdor. Ashtarodanador. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. It shall be done. Ashtarodanador. Something is amiss. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. It shall be done. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Ashtarodanador. Pathetic wretches. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. It shall be done. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora.
Double kill!
Ashtarodanador. The land and I are one.
Press the attack!
It shall be done. Ashtarodanador. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtarodanador. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. Ashtarodanador. It shall be done. What threatens these lands? Something is amiss. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Anudora. Kalimdor. Ashtherodalad. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodalad. Pathetic wretches. For Kalimdor. It shall be done. Ashtherodalad. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. Kalimdor. Ashtherodalad. It shall be done. Anudora. It shall be done. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done.
How dare you! Press the attack!
Anudora. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodalad. Anudora. For Kalimdor. Anudora. Ashtherodalad. For Kalimdor. The land and I are one.
What is it?
It shall be
Inventory is full.
done. For Kalimdor. Anudora.
More work? All right.
Has sleep dulled my senses. For Kalimdor. Anudora.
Yes, me lord. Right hand. What? All right. Yes, me lord.
The land and I are
All work? All right.
one. Something is amiss.
Yes, me lord.
What threatens these lands? For Kalimdor. Anudora.
What? Off I go then. All right.
Something is amiss. For Kalimdor. Ashtherodalad. For Kalimdor. Anudora. It shall be done. Anudora. Ashtherodalad. It shall be done.
Inventory is full.
For Kalimdor. Threatens these lands.
Yes, my lord.
Something is amiss, as sleep dulled my senses.
敵将討ち取ったり
Off I go
敵将
then.
討ち取ったり